What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to the Festus Fantasy Football Forum on the Fantasy Jacks podcast. This is week 8, gentlemen. Halfway through the season, an amazing week, and I'm super excited to get into it. We got a ton of great things to break down today. Matchup reviews, previews, power rankings, our returning segments, like the fact of the week, like Dom's trade reviews, like Ties Locked, and a new official segment that I'm going to have in on a inconsistent basis, of course, but it's going to be the record update. So we'll have that installed for this week. Hope you guys enjoy. We're going to kind of not ramble in this video. Hopefully that helps, because this is Tuesday night that I'm recording this. Been a really busy week, and that doubleheader on Monday night was not easy for my schedule. But it worked out, and it was worth it. So let's get right into matchup reviews from Week 7. Alright, gentlemen, starting off here with the matchup reviews of Week 7. Let's start off here with Team Didi losing to Dom's Girth, 98.14 to 79.78. An abysmal performance by Team Didi. No points scored for Jakobi Meyers, 2 points scored for Michael Mayer, and his whole team was injured this week. Look at this. There's literally nothing he could have done besides drop Christian Kirk and maybe picked up someone for Jakobi Meyers off the waiver wire, which was a feasible and reasonable option. But again, zeros out of, I think, Dom's Girth. Another amazing performance by Patrick Mahomes, who no one likes in real life, but this year for fantasy has been phenomenal. Cortland Sutton, a huge game with late game heroics. I won some money on that game. Thank you, DraftKings Daily Fantasy. And Quinshon Judkins, huge game for him, and that's going to propel Dom to 3-4 on the season. And Team Didi, after starting 2-0 and talking a lot, has now dropped 5 straight losses and has not talked in the chat since. Figures. Let's go now to the Dogs, taking down the Washington Redskins 109.96 to 101.66. This was a good game as well because it came down to Monday night, but really it was over whenever Egbuka was able to be played for Monday night. He could have started Tez Johnson anyway, so it would have been a dub regardless. This game was controversial though, because for the Redskins, trading with Jay Gill 30 minutes before the Sunday morning kickoff, or the Sunday afternoon kickoff, I should say, he got Javonte Williams, George Kittle, and Zay Flowers here, who was on a bye, but controversial nonetheless. Dak Prescott, amazing. Genty, bad game. Devontae Adams, great game as well. And George Kittle, newly acquired, 0 points. Insanely bad luck for Judson, but again, I don't think there was a way he would have won regardless because of who he traded away. They didn't put up numbers anyway, so. Redskins falling to 3-4. The Dogs moving up to 2-5. Starting to heat up a little bit. Good for him. Let's go to, I thought it was the best game of the week, but maybe others disagree. And I'm going to say it right now. I'm 100%, I'm going to hand up accountability. I pulled the jinxes out. I did everything I could. I was such a bitch about this. I'm sorry, Tony. I was saying and I was jinxing and I was being a little bitch about it. And you know what? When you're 2-5, desperate times calls for desperate measures, and I was desperate. And it paid off. I got super, super lucky. JSN went absolutely off on Monday Night Football, and Nico Collins, who was getting the targets, I think he had like 10 or 11, he ended up getting hurt midway through the fourth quarter, and then luckily for me, JSN didn't get another catch because the Seahawks just ran the ball out, which was nice. But the Guardians, second win of the season, 92.18 to 90.44, beating Tony's Jacking Golf team. Finally lucky, something went my way. I'm not going to complain about nothing going my way anymore because finally something did. It was a great week. Ramondre, newly traded for, won me the week in some aspects. Traded DJ Moore, only put up 8, and then Ramondre went off. AJ Brown, fantastic game. That was great to see. Lad did fine. Caleb Williams was a huge letdown, but look at my bench, it wouldn't have mattered anyways. He's already cut, so that was a great game. Let's now go to another really, really close game. This was Ties Locks. Unfortunately, did not cover, but Name Still Loading took down Brockzilla 96.74 to 93.98. Ties Locks was -4, and he did not cover. Now, one big reason that Brock lost was because he started Drake May over Bo Nix, who, for 3.5 quarters of football, this was the right play. And then Bo Nix absolutely went off. Again, another guy that I won that money on DraftKings Daily Fantasy from, and I'm very appreciative of that. But that doesn't hide you, Brock, from getting a You Fucked Up award. For AJ, this was a huge win for you because no Puka Nacua this week. You were dead in the water. A slow week started with Chase Brown. Jaden Daniels getting injured in this game, but Jake Ferguson continues to get it done. And all around just a mid performance, but it was just enough to get it done, and that's all you need sometimes. Tyler Warren, the battle of the tight ends this week. Let's now go to a record-setting game that was not primetime, and I am not sorry about it whatsoever. I kind of am, I guess. But Kent Chubchek took down the Evil Empire 180.42 to 156.14. This was a huge game. Everyone on Mez's lineup went the fuck off. Devontae Smith sat him on the bench. Had he played him over Rico Dowdle, he would have scored 200 points. He would have been the first 200-point scorer ever. Still an insane game. That's not to take anything from Chris either, who had an insane game as well. Trey McBride, fantastic. CeeDee Lamb, first game back, he looked great because he's CeeDee Lamb and he's awesome. Rashee Rice, great as always. Rome Odunze and Breece Hall, though, let this team down. I am having some severe concerns for them if I am Chris. And in the chat, he's trying to say that he put up 156 and can't be mad at it. I'd be fucking infuriated for a 156-point loss. And on top of that, now that is 3 straight for the Evil Empire. That's 3 straight losses. Started off 4-0, now 4-3. Mez, on the other hand, 6-1. Nobody's even close to him at this point. He's running away with the league. And let's go to the primetime game of the week. We had a on-fire manager, 12-man blitz. He took down Bucky's backpack, 139.76 to 92.6, and this is another storyline of the week. 30 minutes before the 12 o'clock game start, Bucky's backpack trades his team before the game even starts. He gets back David Montgomery, he gets back George Pickens, and for the life of me, I don't understand why he did it. A struggling team with depth problems trades away a starting tight end in George Kittle, a top 25 wide receiver in a top 20 wide receiver really in Zay Flowers, and Javonte Williams, a top 10 running back, for nothing in close to his return. I think it's the worst move possibly ever made. That's a big, it just doesn't make any sense. And I will say this also. I know the trade formula passed it based off of the numbers. I got to do better in the committee about vetoing trades. There's no way this should have passed. I didn't even really think about it as much as I should have. I said yes to passing it. Looking back, there's no way this should have. This makes no sense at all. We'll see it more in Dom's review. I mean, it makes complete sense for Judson. It's an absolute 100% win. Even if George Kittle put up 0 points this week, Javonte Williams alone outscored David Montgomery and George Pickens, and now he also shipped off Zay Flowers and George Kittle, again, starting tight end, top 5 in the league. It makes no sense for him to do this on a team with struggling depth problems. I'm really disappointed. I think he just blew up his season, truthfully. As for 12-man blitz, another huge performance, and I'm very proud of him for that. This team is on fire. Second best team in terms of consistency right now, next to Mez. There's no argument about that. Don't let the 3-4 record fool you. Alright guys, so hope you guys enjoyed that little recap. Kind of fled through it a little bit just to kind of keep this video going on. We got a lot of segments to get to. I just want to highlight one more thing. I went 2-4 in my picks last week. Unfortunately, Chris did not send me his picks, so maybe he's out on doing that. I don't know. I hope not, though, because it's been fun doing it, but it is what it is. And then, again, Ty missed his lock of the week, so he goes to 4-4 on the season. And for my picks, I'm 22-20. Let's now get to the record section of the video here. We're going to just highlight the 2 records that were broken. Here we go. So here is the Fastest Fantasy Constitution. This is the record section part of the Constitution, along with the other things that we have in it. It's actually a pretty cool fucking thing, if I do say so myself. And we're going to scroll down here to the most matchup points scored all time for the regular season. And it is Mez with 180.42 points, as we saw this week, and it was a 4-year record. I think this was before even the merger, when we still, I think, had kickers and defenses. If I'm not mistaken, Austin in 2021 had 180.22 points. That's insane. Still not the most points scored ever. Dom had 187 in the playoffs of a year. I think this is the year that he won the championship, so it's impressive to him. And then we're going to scroll all the way down here to most points scored in a single matchup. Mez and Chris this week, in Week 7 of 2025, broke the record, scoring 336.56 points total, taking down Colin and Tyler from 2022, scoring 332 points total. I remember that game. We were actually just talking about it over the weekend. Tyler had Joe Mixon scored 50 points, and he lost that week. So, great memories there. So there is that record. So there's the 2 records broken. And now let's get into the Festus Fantasy Fact of the Week.
Alright, fellas. Topic of this week's fun fact of the week: trades. Those who I'm talking to about trades, you know who you are. Let's make a deal, baby. I need it. Anyways, so I asked Jackson who has made the most and least amount of trades in league history since the 12-man merger. And I'll just say everyone's amount of trades that they've made in total. But let's get it started. With the least amount of trades, sitting at 4 trades total, is AJ with 4. Next on the list is the Steeler fan himself, Tyler Wright, go Steelers, with 6 trades in total. And then we have a 3-way tie for third least. It's Austin, Brock, and Colin with 9 trades apiece. And then we have Judd at 10, me and Jay Gill with 12, Dom with 16, Mez with 17, and then that leaves 2. You could say these are the 2 most controversial managers in the league. Well, maybe not Jackson, but Brock and this other one. But Jackson and Chris are sitting at 22 total trades. That is the most in the league. Please, if we're in trade talks, get at it, because I need those players. And as always, Tyler, let's go fucking Steelers.
Thank you so much, Tony. Another great fact of the week. I love being on top. So let's get now into the matchup previews for Week 8, guys. I was going to say, I'm just totally taking advantage of this fantastic lighting right now. I don't know what it is. I don't know what I did different, but it's amazing. It's perfect. Let's go to 12-man blitz, taking on Team Didi. Early projection totals. Again, I record this on Tuesday, so waivers don't run right away, and it's going to be a little bit different towards the end of the week. But right now, 122.1 to 113.1. I had gotten reports that you guys liked it, that I broke it down on the paths to victory for each game, so I think I'm going to continue doing that this week. Starting with this one. Okay, Josh Allen versus Lamar Jackson. I think this is going to be a wash. Whether it's high scoring or low scoring for each of them, I don't think the point disparity is going to be so that you're going to win or lose from this matchup. Of any other quarterback matchup, yes, it matters. But for this one, being the top 2 and 3, rushing quarterbacks in fantasy football, maybe top 1 and 2 if you want to argue for sure, it's going to be a wash. I think it comes down to wide receiver play. Jamar Chase and Olave versus Xavier Worthy and maybe Calvin Ridley or Wan'Dale Robinson. I'd probably assume Wan'Dale. It's clear and obvious it's going to be Chase and Olave, especially after what we saw last week. They're on absolute burners right now, and I don't think at all Team Didi, his wide receivers can keep up. Now, maybe some trades are in the works for him, But when you also look at the running back room, I think 12-man blitz, he can even hold his own against Barkley and Scadaboo, so I wouldn't even be worried about that. I mean, you literally have for Team Didi, Kenneth Gainwell playing as the backup to Jaylen Warren on the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't see how you can at all win when that's the case. So I think this is a clear and obvious win, a 4th win in a row for 12-man blitz this week. I think he's got it. I think he's in great position. He's on the easy part of his schedule right now. Let's go to, I think, the highest projected point total game of the week. Brockzilla taking on the Guardians of Your Mom's House. 122.5 to 122.3, like super 50-50 right now, which is awesome to see. Brock having some bye week problems with Marvin Harrison and Brian Thomas, but it is what it is, right? On the other side, Nico Collins potentially injured. I think this is actually going to be a sneaky, really, really close game and a very high scoring game. Both teams kind of underperformed last week, both going under 100 points. And these teams have been scoring well besides that. So I think this is going to be a get-back game for both managers. And I think whoever hits their projection this week, or maybe even goes above to like 135, is going to win. I think the quarterback play is a wash considering Caleb and Bo Nix both have really good matchups. So it's going to come down to running backs and wide receivers. And I'll include the flexes in this too. Jacobs, Cook, and Henry versus McConkey, London, A.J. Brown, and maybe Nico Collins. We're not for sure yet. Jacobs, Cook, and Henry have way better matchups than the wide receivers of the Guardians. And when you flip it over, Justin Jefferson and Matthew Golden versus Kamara and Stevenson. I really hate Stevenson, but I think Kamara can put up some points to counter any BS touchdown by Matthew Golden and maybe some pretty good usage out of Justin Jefferson. The Chargers defense is absolutely terrible. I think the path to victory for this game is, I'm going to put this one on Brock here. You need Josh Jacobs and James Cook to go off and do what they've been doing all season. On top of Derrick Henry coming back into Derrick Henry mode, you need them to go off this week. That's your path to victory. If I'm the Guardians, I need my wide receivers to keep doing what they've been doing. You need Drake London to bounce back. And then you need Kamara to just, hey, full workload basically with no Kendre Miller. You got to do what you got to do here. But regardless, I am still going to take Brock to win this week. I think his team, although having some bye weeks, still more heavily powered than the Guardians. Let's now go to the Washington Redskins taking on the Evil Empire, 105.8 to 126.9. The Redskins lineup does not look good. I mean, this is a battered team with bye weeks. Genty and Adams and Michael Carter. So he's having to throw in RJ Harvey there, which no one would ever want to do willingly, right? Forcefully, though, he's got to do it. He's going to bench Dak Prescott as of now. That's an interesting play. And for Chris here, no Jameer and no McBride. That's a really, really tough beat for Chris, but still being projected 127 is very impressive. Now, I think the pathway to victory here for Chris is just to have his wide receivers do what they did last week. CeeDee Lamb go off, Rashee Rice go off. Now, granted, CeeDee Lamb, tough matchup, but Rome Odunze, 100% expect him to bounce back in a huge way, by the way, especially against a very weak defense right now in Baltimore. So, Evil Empire, all he's got to do, have his wide receivers just go off. That's the way he's going to win this week. As for the Redskins, I think it's the same way for this way, too. Running out the 22 personnel, I mean, you need your tight ends to go off for you this week, but it really does come down to, again, wide receiver play, in my opinion. I think Ted Arroyo needs to have a huge week, and I think Zay Flowers needs to have a huge week for you. If that doesn't happen, I don't really see it being possible for the Redskins to win this week. So I'm going to take Chris here, the Evil Empire, to win over the Redskins. Let's go to Can't Chubb Check, taking on Name Still Loading, 144 to 109.7. That's ridiculous. I'm not even going to go into this much. I've done this a few times. I jumped the gun on games that I probably shouldn't, but I'm going to do it this game. I don't think Jaden Daniels plays this week. That's a huge blow for Name Still Loading. No Puka Nacua, who's on bye. Aaron Jones, I think, comes back to going to lower Jordan. I don't see a way that he wins this game. I'm going to give this one to Mez. Fully healthy. No important bye weeks. Congrats, Mez. 7-1. I'm that confident. Sorry, AJ, I'm not trying to be rude. It's just you're running into what I believe is 2020 Derrick Henry. Go to the final 3 o'clock game. Yep, you guys are now for this prime time. If you thought last week's was bad. Last afternoon game, Jack and Goff taking on Buggy's backpack, 82.2 to 79.5. This is fucking disgusting. I don't even want to have to preview this, but I'm gonna, because I'm a man of the people. No quarterback right now for Jack and Goff, and it's because look at his whole fucking team. It's all on bye. Amon-Ra, JSN, ETN, Goff. I don't even think he can drop the players necessary to fix these bye weeks. I mean, he's literally going to be playing anyone and everyone off the street if he needs to. He's going to go, in my opinion, pick up a quarterback off of waivers. Probably going to be dropping Darren Waller. So that's probably a buy low opportunity for some tight end needy teams. So be able to check that out on Wednesday or Thursday. As for Jay Gill, no David Montgomery this week, which is sad. But maybe Bucky Irving and Josh Downs can return. Again, an awful trade for you last week. Can you bounce back? This is an ugly game to pick. I think this is actually going to be on record watch for the lowest scoring game ever. But I'm going to take Tony to win it just because I trust Achane and Diggs and Hawkinson and DJ Moore. I just trust them more than I do George Pickens and the band of Misfit Toys. I just do. Sorry, Jacob. Let's go to the primetime game of Week 8. Yeah, I'm doing it. We're throwing Dom's Girth and the dogs in there. I thought it was fair because each manager's only had one primetime game this year, and I think it's going to be a fun one to watch. It's a really important game. Can Dom get to 4-4? Can Ty start going on a little win streak here? I mean, early projection totals pretty low for both sides, 103.4 to 93.9, but I see a pathway to victory for both sides here. I mean, the dogs, the wide receiver room has really come on strong as of recent. Ibuka, Pittman, T. Higgins looks like he has life again. Okay, right now, Marvin Mims in that final flex spot, he's actually been getting a lot of usage, but maybe you throw in Juwan Jennings, I don't know. I think the pathway to victory for Ty is through the wide receivers. Dom's Girth over here with Bill Krosky, Khalil Shakur, Isaiah Likely. You can't tell me that that's a substantially more impressive lineup, right? I get it. DK and Sutton, those are big hitters for you, and Judkins as well, don't get me wrong, I'm a big fan. But I think it's a pretty even matchup. If I'm Dom's Girth, I need my wide receivers to outscore the Dogs' wide receivers. If I'm the Dogs, I need my wide receivers to outscore Dom's Girth's wide receivers. And then you need to also, if I'm Ty, pray for Mahomes to suck, which I would love because fuck Mahomes, right? We all hate him. So with that said, I mean, maybe you want Jordan Love to go off for you. The shitty thing about the Dogs is that you have absolutely no help from the running back group. You have literal RB2s and arguably RB3s as your starters. It's awful. Kenneth Walker and Travis Hunter on bye. I don't think it would have helped regardless. On top of Laporta and Cooper being on bye for Dom's Girth, those aren't needle movers. And it's unfortunate that I have to pick a winner for this game, but I will. Again, man of the people. And I'm going to pick Dom to win this week. I just think the running backs for the Dogs are just too bad unless his wide receivers go off, which is very possible. They have pretty decent matchups. So yeah, I'm going to take Dom to it. So let's go through my picks one more time, guys. I got Brock Zilla winning. I got 12-Man Blitz winning. I got the Evil Empire winning. I got Kent Chubb Check winning. I got Jack and Goff winning. And then for the primetime game of Week 8, I got Dom's Girth.
What's up, boys? Back for another week. Ty's Locks. Tried to make this earlier. I got yelled at. Said, well, we gotta go to dinner. We picking us up now. Whatever. So here we are. Earlier I was mad. I was going in. I was pissed off. Because there's no better swift kick in the ass than checking the scores all day. Maybe you're watching every play. Maybe you're just tuning into the scores every 30 minutes. Just trying to get a gander. You're feeling good. You're feeling all right. All of a sudden, it's Sunday night. AJ doesn't cover. Wins by 3. I need him to win by 4. God. Fuck. Pisses me off, man. It pisses me off. Him and that fucking Marcus Freeman. Fuck. So what we gonna do? We ain't gonna pout. We ain't gonna fucking pout. We jump right back on the horse. Now my heart, I got a little bias. Probably won't be riding with AJ for a while. That's okay, man. Hey, he made that bed. You know? He made that bed. Now I got trust issues, okay? I got trust issues. So, what we gonna do? You know what we're gonna do. We're gonna take Judson to cover a 20.5 point spread underdog against Chris. I think there's too many points for the guys that Chris is missing this week. And I think Judson had a real bad week last week. I think his team can do a little something. George Kittle fucked him last week, and I was happy with it. I was real happy with it, you guys know. But I think he bounces back, especially against Houston. But, so that's what I got. Judson, plus 20.5. Go Stillstown.
Let's now get into, speaking of Dom's Girth, the trade review segment of the video. We had again, mentioned it a couple times, we had a trade go down on Sunday morning, and Dom sent us a nice review about it. So, let's take a look.
So I think it's only fair to do this trade before all the players on this trade play. And then I'll do another kind of reaction to what my trade was to see if I'm an idiot. But, well, I guess it doesn't really matter. And we'll get into that. So I'm just going to do it before, and I'll bite my tongue if it works out in one of the party's favors, but it's not going to. Okay, so we got Jay Gill trading Zay Flowers, George Kittle, and Javonte Williams to Judson for George Pickens and David Montgomery. It's just an awful trade. It makes no sense. From Jay Gill's perspective, who's, he's got some injuries on his team and trying to hold off to get those injuries back, and you're 5-1, you'd think you'd want to keep your team pretty stout and not do any 3-2 trades for players that, technically aren't even overperforming the players that you're getting or giving away. You got George Kittle back, and the first thing you do is just throw him away. Okay, so let's just break this down. Let's look at the running backs. We got David Montgomery for Javonte Williams. That's just an awful trade all around. David Montgomery's a backup running back, and Javonte Williams has been putting up good numbers. He might have put up lower numbers these last couple weeks, but he's going to continue to put up good numbers. And he gets the workload as the running back over there. David Montgomery doesn't. That makes no sense to do that trade. Okay, now let's look at the other two. George Kittle and Zay Flowers for George Pickens. That's also an awful trade because you're getting rid of a good tight end, and then Zay Flowers, who's on bye, and maybe that's you're trying to win this 1 week, which you're not going to win this 1 week. You're already projected to lose by 90 points. So it doesn't really make sense to just trade Zay Flowers because he's on bye and then get George Pickens, because CeeDee Lamb's coming back and Lamar Jackson's coming back after the bye. So you got George Pickens losing his workload to CeeDee Lamb, or losing targets to CeeDee Lamb. And then you got Zay Flowers getting his quarterback back. He's putting up decent points with Cooper Rush, throwing 7 interceptions and then 7 completed passes in the game. And we're still getting decent points. And then now we're getting Lamar back after the bye. So you're getting a wide receiver who's going to lose value and getting a wide receiver or getting a wide receiver who's going to lose value and giving away a wide receiver who's going to gain value. Doesn't make any sense. And then on top of that, you're just getting rid of George Kittle. I think this trade shouldn't be accepted from the committee. It just doesn't make any sense to lose at the running back. I would say lose at the wide receiver just based on it's a long season. Maybe I'm wrong about that assessment, but I'd say lose at the wide receiver, and then also throw in a tight end as well. That's going to start as Judson's tight end one. Just doesn't make any sense to me. I think Judson and Jake Gill had a late Saturday night, maybe some kissing, maybe some touching, and they colluded together to Jake Gill. Jake Gill's like, I'm 5-1. I don't like making the playoffs. It's stressful. Judson, take my entire team and just give me something that would pass. And Judson said, yes, Daddy, and took his team. And now, Judson's team looks better, and Jay Gill's team looks worse. Toodaloo.
All right, thank you, Dom, for your expert analysis on that trade. We're going to get into the power rankings portion of this video, and since we have the mid-season awards to get through, I'm going to kind of fly through these power rankings, maybe say a couple things per team, if that. Not a lot has changed, especially towards the top, but a few teams, and I'll highlight those. But let's get into, first, I just want to highlight the playoff percentage chance for the Guardians and everybody else, because everyone's important, obviously. Let's get into number 12, guys. The Dogs. Number 12. This team is looking better, but it's just the running back position. Just fix the running back position, and I'll up this team. I promise. At number 11, Team DD. I don't think any surprises here either. This team has been awful as of recent. However, getting some reinforcements back with Lamar and, just so many injuries. That's kind of why this team is so down the bottom, but at number 10, guys, I have Dom's Girth, sitting at 3-4. Again, love the trade that he made with Rock. However, Tony Pollard looks pretty bad. The flexes are super inconsistent. The bright spots on this team are Mahomes, Judkins, DK, and Sutton. Is that enough for the rest of the season? I don't know. But I got him at number 10. At number 9, I have my team, the Guardians of Your Mom's House, the Guardians of a winning house, I will admit, and I'm happy about that. The projection totals I'm happy with, so on a week in and week out basis, I think we're going to be able to compete. I think maybe a move can be made somewhere, I don't know where yet. I feel like I'm kind of on a stalemate, as I was super aggressive for a lot of the weeks leading up to this, but if anyone has any trade ideas, come my way. Number 8, guys. This is going to be sad to say, but I got Bucky's backpack at number 8, and the reason for this is because of the recent trade that he made. I think it has absolutely tanked his stock, tanked his season, even if he is 5-2. I said last week that it'd be pretty hard to miss the playoffs at this point, but I didn't realize it would be that easy, actually, because what he did, that trade just did not help him at all. It made him 20 times worse, honestly. And number 7. Name Still Loading, coming in here with a pretty good season so far, sitting at 4-3, had some ups, had some downs. Puka Nacua has been fantastic, wide receiver 1 in fantasy. In my opinion, probably the best player besides one of the three-headed, monsters at running back. Overall, a pretty well-balanced team as of now. We still have some things to look at, like Vidal's workload moving forward, Jordan Mason's workload moving forward. Do we trust Chase Brown yet? I don't know. But overall, a well-rounded team and can very easily win this weak division, which I think goes a long way. At number 6, a lot of inconsistencies with this team. I got the Washington Redskins. Now, I do think the trade that he made for Dak and Garrett Wilson, and I think that'll all pay off eventually. But he's made up for it with his recent trade, getting Zay Flowers, getting Javonte Williams, getting George Kittle. It'll be interesting to see if he moves off from one of these two tight ends. Got a really good running back room with Javonte and Ashton Jeanty when healthy. So there's a really good combo there. No superstar wide receiver. So we'll see, maybe he consolidates one of these tight ends and wide receivers for that. I think that's probably the next logical move. and then have him paired with Garrett Wilson in the season, or I guess Zay Flowers too. Overall, though, pretty fun team. Just seeing where we go from here. Sitting at 3-4, it can go in any direction at this point. At number 5, guys, I got Jack and Golf, Tony's team, and I'm bumping him down. For the first week in a while, I've bumped him down, and that's because of the uncertainty right now with Chuba Hubbard and Woody Marks and DJ Moore and now having to rock with TJ Hawkinson, right, for a few weeks. On top of, of course, all of the stacks. He kind of lost the game this past week because of all of these stacks. Now look, Jason and Amon-Ra, that's a home run players, and I think you nailed those draft picks along with Devon Achane. Textbook first 3 rounds of drafting by Tony. Text fucking book drafting. From there, though, you have Jameson Williams still, you have Jared Goff still, you can't trust that. Aaron Jones and TJ Hawkinson are going to be sharing this lineup eventually, I can guarantee it, and that's not good. Darren Waller and Achane sharing the lineup, and it's just the stacks are back to being a problem again, right? Yes, when the Lions score 50 points, this team will be great, but they're not going to do that, especially if you don't have Gibbs, right? You have Jameson Williams as your third super stack member. That's the worst one to have. At number 4, guys, shooting up the power rankings is 12-man Blitz. He's absolutely firing on all cylinders right now, taking complete advantage of a super weak schedule right now, and he's running the table. 3-4. Jamar Chase is saved. Chris Olave has been fantastic. Jalen Warren and DeAndre Swift, super good and solid depth pieces, on top of having Kyren Williams. I will say the only concern right now, in my opinion, is the flexes with Deebo Samuel and what I would say is either Jalen Warren or DeAndre Swift. I think right now, Chase and Olave, probably the best wide receiver 1 and 2 combo, considering where you drafted them. This team is basically averaging 130 plus points right here, if you can see that, plus Kyren Williams. Firing. I think this is by far and away the 4th best team in the league right now. The only thing holding them back is the record. And Colin's not one of those guys to go make a big splash move. So I think he's going to ride this team out, right? You obviously don't want to make changes because it's working. Let's go to number 3. Staying at number 3, Brockzilla. Again, not a lot of changes for these top 3 guys. Same things as last week. Just let your guys be your guys, right? Derrick Henry. Brian Thomas might have an injury, which is going to be a little bit concerning. We'll monitor that. But overall, your team is playing pretty good. I will admit, team's playing very, very good. And hopefully Brian Thomas gets healthy. Number 2, Chris. It's hard to not want to put this team number 1, even though I hate you, Chris, because you suck. With CeeDee Lamb, Rashee Rice, Rome Odunze, who admittedly has cooled off, so let's maybe pull the brakes back on him. But CeeDee Lamb and Rashee Rice, fantastic, on top of Jalen Hurts and Jahmyr Gibbs and Trey McBride. Fantastic starting lineup right there. I would say if it wasn't for Mez, this would be the clear-cut favorite in any other year. But as we know, guys, number 1, can't Chubb check. Can't no one check him. He's insane right now, averaging 152 points a game. Wow. I can't even fathom that. I really cannot fathom that. Mez, it's your league for the taking if you want it. And if there's no injuries, look at this, 26.7, 25.6, 24.2. That's what you're averaging, man. On top of Jordan Addison getting me 17 a game. It's insane. So good for you, Mez. Let's now get into the final segment, which is the mid-season awards. I got some pretty good things picked out for everybody. Maybe some controversial picks, but let's get right into them. Alright, so for the final segment, I'm just going to do it with the normal face cam. Nothing to really screen share with you guys, but I'll pop up some nice pictures and stuff like that. So for the best team overall for the first half of the season, this came down to who had the most weeks spent at number 1 in my power rankings. And that's been Mez, as we all knew. The worst team overall has been Ty. He spent the most weeks in last place. And that's going to be probably in part by the next 2 things that we get into. The best trade for a team, in my opinion, has been the Bijan trade for Mez. I get it, he traded 3 starters, and it's only really been one player, but Jordan Addison has been a huge contributing factor to him, on top of Bijan. His team really took off after that deal was made. For the worst trade for a team, I actually put Ty for the, maybe different, right, not the Bijan trade, for the Trey McBride trade, because Tyreek Hill immediately got hurt, and he sent away Jordan Addison in the Bijan deal, who's been tearing it up too, and he got nothing back. That's just double insult. So I'm going to say it's the Trey McBride trade. Another one, in my opinion, after it's all said and done this year, it's going to be probably the Jay Gill and Judson trade. That deal with Jay Gill was awful. Right now, it's definitely been Ty. The most injured team, everyone thinks they're the most injured team. I know I do. But the most injured team has been Austin, and I think that's 100% fair. Look at last week. The biggest steal in the draft, guys, the only stipulation for this was the only players still on the team that was drafted by them, right? You couldn't like trade them for someone better or whatever. I didn't think that would be fair. But guys that were drafted still contributing for their team. First one that came, I picked a couple. Tony, he picked Travis Etienne in the 10th round. Austin picked Cam Skattebo in the 9th round, currently running back like 8. Brock picked up Tyler Warren in the 8th round. I think he's tight end 3 or 4. And then Tyler picking Emeka Egbuka in round 7. I'm pretty sure he's a top 10 wide receiver as well. So pick whoever you think in that. I'd probably say either Egbuka or Tyler Warren personally. So flip a coin for whoever you want to give that one to. For the worst pick in the draft, this is players only still on their team or if you dropped them. This one's kind of unfair for one of them. But one of them's not. This has been an awful pick so far this year. Chase Brown in the 2nd round. He's been awful, and you can't not play him. That's AJ's predicament that he's in every week. But I think, honestly, the worst pick this year has been Mike Evans in the 3rd for Dom. Now, granted, it's only been injuries, and I could say, well, Malik Neighbors in the 1st, but Malik Neighbors actually put up pretty good stats for Jay Gill. Mike Evans, even when he was playing, he didn't put up anything crazy, and now he is hurt for the whole year, so it's been just been a bad pick. So, again, that's why I kind of mentioned unfair for sure. Best waiver wire ad? So far this year, we haven't really had any big name players. I mean, no like Laportas, no Pukas, no Kyrans, right? So I just went with Rico Dowdle for Mez. I mean, he put up 30 points back-to-back weeks. Helped Mez win those weeks too. Austin, I want to give a shout out to you for picking up Wan'Dale Robinson. He's been a very valiant starter for you week in and week out. Helped you win a week against me. Convenient. But that was great for you. Again, waiver wire has been a little mid this year. And then some superlatives. Highest scoring game this year was Chris and Mez, as we know, in week 7. That set records. The lowest scoring game this year so far has been Dom and Austin, also in that same week of week 7. And then I want to give a shout out to, in my opinion, the most improved manager thus far, and that's going to go to Chris. You know, a manager who has been really, really bad in years prior. He's really found something this year, and I think he's made some fantastic moves. I'll put my hat up. I lost on that deal with Drake London and CeeDee Lamb, even if my intentions were right and good. I lost that deal. He won the Trey McBride deal, getting rid of Tyreek Hill the day before he got hurt. Got some questions for him to answer, for this rest of the season, but so far everything has gone his way, besides the 3 straight losses. Just saying. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and you enjoyed all of these segments. Let me know if you agree or disagree with anything, or with any of the awards that I gave out. Again, not giving you guys shit, but had any other ideas. Maybe I missed something, maybe I forgot something, maybe you wanted something mentioned. I can add it to the comments or post tab, or just, I'll highlight it in the YouTube section. So let me know. Hope you guys enjoyed. Good luck to everybody in week 8. Guys, playoffs start in 7 weeks. Think about that. Playoffs start in 7 weeks. So it is crunch time. Quicker than people realize, and I truly believe after this week, so many things are going to be done for managers. I think teams are going to make the most insane trades out of fear of desperation after this week. So, Good luck to everybody this week, except Brock. Go fuck yourself, buddy. All right, see you guys.